Hello everyone, welcome to lesson number 6 of BeginnersC Lesson. Today we are going to be talking about ifs. And ifs are probably the first time you guys will start to feel like real programmers. Um, ifs allow us to take more than one pathway with our programs, and that's kind of how you should think of them. Is every if statement is a branch, left or right. It's a fork in the road where you have a statement that will either evaluate to true or it will evaluate to false. So let me give you an example of a simple if statement. So we type if and we say 1, 2 equal signs, and then 1. So there's a few things that I want you guys to notice here. These right here, these little brackets, are called scoping operators. That is at least what I've heard them referred to as. And basically, these set up what is called a scope. We will get more into scopes later, but for now, what you need to know about scopes is if this statement right here is true, and we will talk about that in just a moment, then everything inside of these brackets is going to be executed. And if it is not true, so if this statement, if we say 1 equals 2, if that is not true, then nothing in these brackets will work. So for right now, let's say cout hello world. And the other half of an if statement is known as an else. I missed a semicolon. So we get our else going, and inside of this we'll say the if statement wasn't true. And we'll put an end out at each of these, just because I don't want to. Okay, so we'll run this really quick, and as you can see, we get a hello world, and then a normal exit. So with this hello world, we are seeing that because 1 is equal to 1. And there's something happening here that I haven't introduced yet. So you see a double equal sign. That's called a comparison operator, meaning that we are comparing whatever happens on the left side of that operator to whatever is on the right side of that operator. So we say if 1 equals 1, then this whole thing evaluates to true. So the word that I left out here is boolean. And booleans are these cool little variable. It's a cool type of variable. Wow, I really am struggling to type the word variable right now. Type of variable that can only hold true or false. And we're actually going to get into what that means in a few minutes, true or false. So let me show you. I should just mention that boolean is the actual word. The type is called bool. So if we want to make a boolean variable, let's say bool is true, and we'll just make it so it's true all the time by setting it equal to true. We can then set this just like this. So let's make a little space and say is true. And it looks, we have a variable here called is true. We run this, and we should see hello world once again, which we do. And having that space there was bothering me. And so if we set this to false, which, is kind of a flas, F-A-L-S-E, there we go. If we set it equal to false, its name is true actually doesn't matter for anything. And we can see that the statement is not true. So when you name your Boolean or your bool variables, you need to make certain that you don't confuse their name and their meaning. So I generally oppose using the words true or false in their name. I instead use something like is used. So we'll get more into cases later where, you know, maybe we want to check if a seat in a movie theater has been purchased already, or we want to look at something like that. So, like, let's say, is taken. You know, we would do something like this, is taken. So, if that's true, then maybe we want to say, like, this seat is already purchased. Something like that. I clearly don't make too much wording that faces the user in my current position. So, you know, we would have something like that, and otherwise we would go and say, this seat costs $5. Movies are more like 12. So, okay, something like that is what we're looking at for a realistic example of how you might use bool. So let's assume that the person then purchases it. So let's say, would you like to purchase? Man, I am having real bad luck with these videos finishing rendering. Purchase this seat, question mark. And then let's make a quick char variable. Char c equals just a simple empty space. And let's do cin for c. Let's do y/n. So we're gonna have them, you know, enter y or n, uppercase in this case. And we're going to make another if statement. And I wanted to do this really quickly. We're going to dive more into nested if statements in our next video. So let's just do this. If c double equals y, we'll then set is taken equal to true, and we'll say cout, thank you for your purchase. And we're going to come back to this type of code later on. Cout, thanks for your interest, whatever. And so that's kind of our basic structure of if and else. And I'm going to actually go ahead and comment pretty much all of this out. One of these is comment, there we go. So, okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was how to make a statement true using something that is not a Boolean. And this is something that I teach you guys to show you that it's there. I don't really want you to do it. So when you use a bool, so let's say bool is, I don't know, let's just call it bool there. I'm not trying to impress you guys with my naming skills right now. So we can set up a quick if-else here. So when we set this up, if we do a quick cout is true, and I'll copy paste that, and we'll do is false. Now I haven't set the variable, and if we try to do this with some types, it will bug out on us. However, bools are going to do the same thing. Some compilers will automatically set it equal to either true or false for you. VS 2013 is very specific and makes you do it on your own, or you have to set it before it's used. So in this case, you know, let's set false. But let's get rid of this bool there. What happens if I just want this if statement to happen no matter what? Which I want to go out ahead and say, if you're using an if statement and you always want it to happen, then you shouldn't be using an if statement. You should just put the commands there without an if statement. I mean, here's the thing, right? I can say if true, and this will always happen, and this will never happen. So I can run this. That's gonna complain at me. And so I go ahead, I run this. It's true. I run it again. It's true. And it's always going to be true. And similarly, if I put false in here, same thing happens. It's false, you know, and it's going to continue happening like that. So using true or false, if you want to output it's true or it's false, you can just get rid of the if statement. There's no reason to have it there. So there are times when you might want to use true, but generally there's a better way of controlling your programs than that. So I don't really endorse that. As a final sort of thing, actually there's two other things I want to talk about. Is you notice that I used equals equals earlier. There's other ways that we can compare values. I just want to go ahead real quick and get this out of the way. I'm going to spend 1 minute on this, if that. If we use 0, 0 is always equal to false. Equally, if we use 1, 1 is always equal to true. Actually, anything bigger than 1 is always equal to true. So if I do if 50, that's also true. Anything 1, I think, or less than 1. So if I do like -2, I think that that's also false. Oh, no, actually, I guess it's just 0. But typically, again, you don't want to do it this way. So don't do that unless you really have to. Equally, you can set, I believe you can set bools like is, or whatever, variable equal to 1, and then that will be true. But again, I don't think that that's what you should be doing. So, quick statement here. We are going to do something like this. Let's say if 1 is less than 7, or 9 is less than 6. So only one of these is true. And we have this double vertical line operator there. That's actually a Boolean OR. So that's an OR. Here, actually, let me type out all of these and their meanings. There's double line is OR, double and is and, greater than, less than, and then we have greater than equal to, less than equal to. We also have not. Then we have not equal to. So not you'll use with Booleans, whereas not equal to, you might say not equal to 7. So it's not equal to a specific value. And that basically handles all your Boolean operators. The only other thing I wanted to mention, so this is actually going to be true. Meanwhile, if we switched this to and, that would then be false. So, and we can get more complicated, and I'll show you how to do that next lesson. But let's say that we create an int inside of here. And we say int I equals 0. If we come out here and we do a cout for I, this will not run. And the error it gives us is that it's undeclared, but we declare it right here. And I want to spend the last 30 to 40 seconds talking about this. Anything that's created inside of these brackets, these scoping brackets that I mentioned earlier, is destroyed, completely and utterly destroyed right at the end of these brackets. So there's no way to create something, or well, there is a way, but there's no way that we're going to get into to create a variable inside these brackets that survives once they close. Because generally speaking, you shouldn't need to. You should plan your programs in a way where, you know, if you're creating something in here, you shouldn't need to use it outside. And if you do, you just take it and you create it beforehand. So I can do this and say int I equals 0 and then I plus equals 9 inside there, and that's fine. And then I can use I here. But if I create it in here, then I can't use it anywhere else but within these brackets. All right, so that's just about going to settle it for this lesson. Sorry I went a little bit over my 15-minute mark. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, complaints, anything like that, please hit up the forums at beginnercpp.com/forums. Share this with your friends, and if you have any questions, let me know. See you around.